What's going on, everybody? This is France, and we're back for NXT review for Wednesday, July 25th, 2018. NXT just went off the air, and we have, as I stated last week, we have a new NXT champion in Tommaso Ciampa, who just had a hell of a brawl fight with Aleister Black over the NXT Championship. Aleister Black won the NXT Championship back at TakeOver New Orleans from Andrade Cien Almas, and in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, had probably the worst booked NXT title reign since I'm not sure. I think he has. And it's not his fault either. But Aleister Black, wrong place, wrong time. His title reign had the Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano feud pretty much outshine it and pretty much make his entire title reign not worth as much as it should. We opened the show, of course, tonight with Adam Cole versus Sean Maluta. I did not remember Sean Maluta. He didn't I guess you could say that's how much I really cared about him in the Cruiserweight Classic. Apparently, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic. And I guess he faced off against Kota Ibushi. I actually had to look it up, who Sean Maluta is. And apparently he was the first person that Kota Ibushi wrestled in the Cruiserweight Classic. So there's that. I didn't know that, and that was a big shock to me. I'm surprised. But he did have a nice little bit of a showing. It was essentially a squash match, but Adam Cole did have Sean Maluta show off some of his skills. Jumping neck breaker, from Maluta. He also did a couple other things. Adam Cole pretty much is just I had enough of this shit. He hits him with the last shot after Sean Maluta was up on the middle rope. He goes for a dive, a jump off the middle rope, and gets hit with a super kick out of nowhere. Adam Cole, who usually takes his time to pull the knee pad down for the last shot, hits him with the super kick and immediately drops that knee pad. Picks him up and hits him in the back of the head with the last shot. 1, 2, 3. Adam Cole is your winner. And in a decent opening match, nothing to write home about, but Adam Cole showing that he is one of, if not the best in NXT at this time. The match was just to give us a little bit of Adam Cole. It was after the match in which we have pretty much a build for the NXT North American Championship going into Brooklyn, and that is Adam Cole grabs the mic and says Adam Cole is the most buzzworthy of any superstar on any brand, and that's because what I do in this ring. I defend this title all over the world. I defend it all over North America. I even went to the UK and defended it there. And tonight I gave this young kid who's hungry and wants a chance to have an opportunity. Adam Cole, baby. And anybody who wants to take a shot at me, and before he could say much of anything else, Ricochet makes his way to the ring. Ricochet says, I owe you an apology. You actually didn't run for your competition. Even though you were facing a young upstart that you didn't remember his name. Since joining NXT, you have taken it all by storm, but since you became champion, you become pretty much a coward. Ricochet then eventually says, how about you have a match? A match for the NXT North American Championship at Brooklyn against me. Cole says, you already want one thing, I am so good, but I don't have to diminish myself by fighting you at Brooklyn. Ricochet then says, that's cool, go ahead, you do you. That just proves to me that you're as much of a coward as I thought you were. Coward chant from the crowd. Cole looks like he's going to get back in the ring, but Ricochet does his springboard, flip, backflip, and then Adam Cole backs up until you have Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong join him on the ramp. They look like, you know what, it's us three versus him, and then all of a sudden the War Raiders come out. And you have the War Raiders sending the Undisputed Era down back to the ring, and then they exit off to the side through the crowd. But before they can do anything, Mustache Mountain shows up behind them and attacks them, sending them running and escaping to another portion of the crowd. So all all 8 guys getting the show, getting a little bit of, hello, we're here to do this. Now, with the fact that what happens tonight in the main event, I'm thinking, like, if it wasn't for the fact that I have a feeling what we're going to get at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn for the NXT Championship, I could easily see War Raiders versus Mustache Mountain versus the Undisputed Era for the NXT Tag Team Championships. But I highly doubt that. I think we're going to probably get the Mustache Mountain rematch, and the War Raiders just out there to be like, hey, we might have some unfinished business to do with with Mustache Mountain, but we're just here to show you that it might not be tomorrow, but someday soon we are going to be taking those NXT Tag Team titles and causing a war, a raid. Then we see a contract signing between Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler, and it's nice to see William Regal has finally made it back. I know he's been out for a while with illnesses, so it's great to see William Regal actually back on NXT TV. He does look like he has lost some weight or something, or it looks like he is like just still recovering. He's still recovering from whatever illnesses he had. I'm not saying he's still sick, it's just like something. He just looked a little off tonight when it came to his, like, how he looked. Baylor said this isn't the same, like, he starts talking about how this is a rematch from the Mae Young Classic, and Baszler stops him right there and says, listen, everyone keeps saying this is a rematch, but you guys do remember I beat Kairi Sane just a couple months ago. This isn't the same Shayna Baszler from a year ago. This woman, like, I have a killer instinct now. You do not. Because Kairi hasn't done, like, I have risen to the top. Kairi, what have you done since the Mae Young Classic? You live in the past with the Mae Young Classic win because you haven't done anything since. And quite honestly, she's right. Other than her fatal 4-way match between, I believe it was Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, Ember Moon, and Kairi Sane really hasn't done much in NXT until she gets this #1 contendership match. Kairi Sane then says, and she does this like 3 times, I know it, you know it, I can beat you. Baszler says you don't have to, and of course Kairi signs the contract. Baszler says you don't have to, you don't have to listen to you don't have what it takes. Like everyone else pretending to have what it takes, Dakota Kai pretending to be tough, you pretending to be a pirate, Candice LeRae should be on her own way, being a wife. You're nothing but a phony, and it's pathetic, as Shayna Baszler says. Shane then says, in Brooklyn, I will beat you. She again says, you know it, I will beat you. Baszler says, you don't have to listen now, but in Brooklyn, you will have to hear. And still, NXT Women's Champion, as Baszler gets up, signs the contract, and walks off in disgust. Shane says, I know it, she knows it, I can beat her. And that cuts the camera to done. Later on, they would show Shayna Baszler looked like she was just coming out of the locker room, like she's ready to leave, and be asking her about the words that Kairi Sane said to her when Candice LeRae, who she made fun of in that promo, comes out. I think Sarah Del Rey has a hold of Candice, so it looks like we're gonna have Candice LeRae versus Shayna Baszler somewhere in these tapings, whether it's this week, next week, or the week after that. I don't know, but there was, and the week after that, there is still 3 weeks till NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. EC3 versus Conor Reeves has been announced for next week, so that jawing between those two, I believe it was last week, is going to come to a head next week. I'm pretty sure between next week and the week after that, we will probably get the Velveteen Dream versus EC3 added to TakeOver Brooklyn, since this has been building between these two since the Royal Albert Hall, where they were a tag team against Ricochet and Aleister Black, but EC3 went to tag in Velveteen Dream, and Velveteen Dream just walked off. So these guys have a prior grudge to take care of, and they will settle it at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Lacey Evans versus Tanella Price. Yeah, I'm not a big like proponent to like complete squash matches. I mean, yeah, Adam Cole versus Sean Maluta was pretty much a jobber match, like him facing the jobber. But Sean Maluta got a good bit of offense in on him, and Adam Cole just got ticked. He's like, you know what? I'm ending this now. Lacey Evans beats the holy hell out of Tanilla Price. Until Lacey Evans goes for her handstand splash, lands on Tanilla Price's feet, and Lacey Evans gets back up. She's in the corner and ends up hitting the women's right for the 1-2-3. Not much else to say then. In the back, we hear from Bianca Belair. She says she's hurt. It is what it is. It is. I am undefeated, but you know what? I will work on myself because I've been waiting. I've been telling these girls that they need to catch up to me. I'm the EST of NXT. I should be getting an NXT Women's Championship shot, not anybody else. But I was injured, so I couldn't take part of that match. When I get back, I will get what I deserve because I am undefeated. She said it over and over and over a couple times. So I'm sure going into Los Angeles, whoever the NXT Women's Champion is, whether it's Sane or whether it's Shayna Baszler, the winner of that show, not out of Brooklyn, I should say, whoever's the NXT Women's Champion coming out of Evolution, when we get to Los Angeles the very next month, it will be Bianca Belair versus the NXT Women's Champion, unless Bianca Belair gets the NXT Women's Championship match at WWE Evolution, but I doubt it. Aleister Black versus Tommaso Ciampa, heavy boos and "you suck" chants from the crowd, followed by some more booing. Crowd was hot for this match when they started. These two beat the holy hell out of each other. These guys were like starting to wrestle around. The crowd started chanting Aleister Ciampa. This was, what can you say about this match? It was a great match. What I will say is, the match comes to an end, referee is down, Ciampa goes to grab the belt. While he's getting set up to take out Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano makes his way into the ring. They didn't show where he came from. All you can hear is the crowd chant, like celebrating and cheering because, oh, Johnny Gargano's here to stop Tommaso Ciampa from doing the wrong. Tommaso Ciampa ends up eating a super kick. Johnny Gargano goes to grab the belt. Tommaso Ciampa will not let go of the belt. He is like, they're playing tug of war. You know how like you and your nephew or your kid or like your brother or sister are playing tug of war and one pulls really, really hard, and like you're like, especially if you're like an older sibling and you pull and you let your younger sibling just sit there and pull, and eventually like when they're pulling as hard as they can, you just let go and they fall backwards. That's pretty much what happened here, except instead of him falling backwards, Johnny Gargano turned around and took the NXT title and hit Aleister Black in the face. The way he gets thrown out of the ring just was After that, Tommaso Ciampa just pulls him and tosses him out of the ring. I don't know, like they didn't do the camera angling right because you didn't get to see where Johnny Gargano landed. Anyway, Tommaso Ciampa hits Aleister Black with Christopher Daniels' Angel's Wings. And you have a new NXT champion, Tommaso Ciampa, who gets rained in boos and obscene chants and everything. Everybody was disappointed. I think this is going to backfire a little bit on WWE because you have Johnny Gargano, who is becoming obsessed. This feels like, and I hate to say it, but this feels like with Johnny Gargano, they saw what Sami Callihan versus Eddie Edwards was doing, and took Eddie Edwards, who was obsessed with killing and destroying Sami Callihan, and was like, let's do something like that with Johnny Gargano. It just feels like you have that they stole something like this from Impact Wrestling. I don't like to say that, but it just feels like with Eddie Edwards cracking and going after Tommy Dreamer, that they're doing something like that with Johnny Gargano. Now, what happens at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn without going into spoilers, because I don't read spoilers. The only reason you knew about the NXT Championship changing hands was because WWE themselves said something about it. Now, I honestly, you can just see this as a triple threat match. This is going to be a triple threat match between these three guys, and I don't know how they get there. I don't know what is said, but this is going to lead to a triple threat match at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Not Chicago, but Brooklyn. Maybe they have Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano in a number one contenders match and Ciampa comes and screws it up. Maybe Aleister Black invokes his rematch clause, and I just don't know. We're going to get a triple threat match between these three. And again, as I said at the beginning of the show, this was the first time since NXT TakeOver, what was it? It was the February 2015 NXT TakeOver. That's 2 months after Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship. That this was the first time since then that the NXT Championship has changed hands in Full Sail, if I'm correct. It is also the first time on a random episode of NXT since Bo Dallas won the NXT Championship from Big E, and that dates back before the WWE Network. Am I a fan of like this happening? It is what it is. They have to do what they can. They wanted to get the title on Tommaso Ciampa. Is this going to be the end of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano when we get to NXT TakeOver in Brooklyn? I honestly do not know, but this is going to be interesting. We have 3 more episodes of NXT to get through. Anybody, if you watch any podcast and they say there's only 2 weeks left, and they need to do their math right because they're fucking idiots. I've heard and seen, I think, 1 or 2 podcasters say, well, there's only 2 weeks of build left. I'm like, are you people fucking stupid? There are 3 weeks between now and the 19th because the end of the month is not till next week. People need to get their math right, plain and simple. But that's neither here nor there. So that is your NXT review. NXT was pretty much all about setting up Adam Cole versus Ricochet and the NXT Championship match that's going to set up a triple threat at Brooklyn. There was nothing else in between. I mean, Lacey Evans versus Tamina Price and Bianca Belair saying she's hurt, which honestly she's not. She's not hurt. She was just on her honeymoon. The fact that they just sat there and used that as an excuse to write her off for the thing instead of saying it should have been a triple threat match in the beginning. And all, there should have never been a talk of Bianca Belair as the match. But other than Ricochet versus Adam Cole, pretty much the pieces falling into place, and the NXT Championship match, that was pretty much NXT for you in a nutshell tonight. Was it a bad show? No, I don't think. When was the last time NXT had a bad show? I don't know. Was it the best show ever? No. That main event was good. It sucks that NXT, like WWE and NXT, had to spoil it, because if they didn't spoil it, other people would have. So there's that. But that is it. My name is The Franz. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like this video. Follow me on Twitter at The Franz. Hit that follow button over there. Twitch.tv/TheFranz08. Hit that follow button over there. And I will see you guys on Saturday for Unscripted, where we will talk about many items. And hopefully we will have some news on some SummerSlam items, as well as more Mae Young Classic news and much more. I'm getting out of here. NXT, we have ourselves a new NXT champion in Tommaso Ciampa, and we are 3 weeks out from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn with 3 more episodes. What will we see, and how will each match get decided when they're going to come? Until then, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.